Hello friends, myself Professor N.B. Bhogner from Department of Agriculture Microbiology and Plant Pathology from Kekewa College of Agriculture, Nasik. Welcome you all to third semester and second year. In this semester, course in plant pathology is Path 232 having title Principles of Integrated Disease Management with credits 2. Today, we will be dealing with a topic that is IPM, introduction, then history, importance, and concepts. Let's see one by one. First, we must know what we are going to learn step by step, that is learning objectives. First, let's see what is IPM is all about, that is introduction, then definition, then pest population level, that is ETL and EIL, then history, how it get evolved, then why to go for IPM, its importance, benefits, then at last concept. Introduction. IPM stands for Integrated Pest Management. Integration, that is using of combined methods or multiple methods. Integrated control, this term was developed by the scientist Stern, University of California. That is selective use of chemicals so that the natural enemies they get conserved. Natural enemies, these are nothing but the natural killers of that particular pest, like predators. Pest. What is pest? It is any organism that interferes with the activities and desires of humans. It may be a pathogen, insect, or weed. It is a broader concept. What is management? Management, it is nothing but the decision making process which impact or which effects depends on the ecological principles, then economical and social consideration. Then in early 1960s, the IPM concept evolved from the pest management. Let's see IPM definition. It is a comprehensive approach, that means it includes all, covers all, to the pest control, that uses a combined means, that is biological, physical, chemical, etc., to reduce the status of pest to the tolerable levels while maintaining a quality environment. While recalling the definition, you must keep it in mind. Create questions. What is it? Why and how it is being created? So it will be easier for you recalling definition. Next is pest level population, that is EIL and ETL. EIL stands for economic injury level, that is the lowest population that causes the economic damage, and from which we can determine the capacity of that pest population or destructive nature. The next one, that is ETL, which stands for economic threshold level. It is a population density at which control measures should be applied. This is the diagram. Time against the pest density, the graph is plotted. Population at equilibrium, that is the average pest population. Then next level, that is the economic threshold at which action should be taken. Then next one, economic injury level, that is economic damages. Let's see history. If we see the history, if we go back from 2500 BC, Sumerians, they go for the sulfur compounds, then oil sprays are used to control pest. Then in 300 AD, first record of biological control was found by Chinese. Then in 1880, first commercial sprayer was discovered, and introduction of synthetic organic compound was developed in 1930. And in 1940, the entomopathogen was successfully used to control the Japanese beetle. What is entomopathogen? That is the pathogen or any fungus, bacteria, virus which is used to kill the pest. Then another term, that is supervised insect control. That means in this case the life history, all the ecology is studied, and according to this the management strategies are decided. It is a alternative to the traditional or calendar based insecticide program. Then this integrated control, it provide a best. Then in case of integrated control, there is a proper best mixture of chemical and biological controls are given. Then ecological backslash, how this IPM evolved. When green revolution takes place, in green revolution the most chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides were used, and farmers were getting uh, more yield. But after some years, the soil health get reduced, they get polluted. Then there are some problems related to pesticide, that is a pest resurgence or pest replacement, pesticide resistance. These problems occurred in 1959. Scientists they discovered that the aphids, they could be better controlled by reducing the pesticide amount, because along with the pest or aphids, they were killing the aphid predator or natural enemies also. Then pest management, this concept was proposed in 1961 by Geer and Clark. Then in 1950s, where the DDT, the harmful effect were discovered. Then in 1960s, the environmental awareness were created, and the public outcry was there, because environmental contamination they found in the air and foul water, rivers. And in 1972, an American biologist lady, that is Rachel Carson, she wrote a book named Silent Spring. In her book, she mentioned regarding the ill effects or bad effects of the pesticides or chemicals on environment and all the other living things, including plant, human, soil, etc. She also suggested other control measures rather than chemical pesticides to protect the wildlife, human health and environment. Then public pressure was mainly responsible regarding the ban of DDT and other pesticides. In 1967, the term IPM was introduced by the scientists R.F. Smith and R. Van Den Bosch. Then many countries, they adopted IPM as a policy, and in year 1972, the term IPM that was accepted by the CEQ. CEQ stands for Council of Environment Quality. Why IPM is important? What are its benefits or plus points? For feeding the growing population, we must increase the yield, and with increasing the yield, this IPM, it is protecting the environment. It is an eco-friendly technique. It is effective in pest resistance, pest resurgence problem, or there are no any chances of outbreak of secondary pest where the minor pest becomes major. Then this technique, it also protect the natural enemies and less risk to human and health hazard. Concept, first one, that is understand the agriculture ecosystem. If we want to reduce or control the population of pests, they are living in the agriculture ecosystem, so we must need to understand thoroughly. We must have knowledge of agriculture ecosystem. It is a comparatively, as compared with forest, it is less diverse, and it contains some major crops 1 to 4 and 6 to 10 major pest species. And this agroecosystem is manipulated by the human activities, that is the intercultural operations, and which influences the pest population. The next one, planning of agriculture ecosystem. In case of planning, we must have the proper planning. That is, we must use integrated methods, predict the pest population, we must go for the crop rotation or create the condition that will reduce the pest population using of resistant varieties, or go for the crops which will not increase the pest. Examples are mentioned in the slide. The next is cost benefit ratio, that is BC ratio, whether the project is in profit or loss. It indicator of that if we invest rupees 1 on chemical or pesticide, then we must get some benefit. It is the calculator of that. And environmental safety and resistance, these issues are important. And if necessary, then only go for the pest management by defining ETL. The next, tolerance of pest damage. In case of tolerance, the pest free crop, it is neither necessary in the most cases for high yield or nor appropriate, because it's a food chain. But some crops like castor, it can tolerate up to 25% defoliation exception in case of virus diseases. Then there are some pest levels, that is ETL and EIL, from which we can determine the tolerance level of the pest. Next one, leaving of pest residues. For protection of natural enemies, we must leave a permanent pest residue below ETL. Due to extensive use of insecticides, their population is getting reduced or they are getting eliminated. The next one is timing of treatment. It plays a very important role because we should go for need based as per the ETL level. Then minimum number of sprays should be there and plant sprays should be there, that is timely scheduled. Then last one, that is a public understanding and sustainability. Regarding public understanding, if we look in the diagram from the scientist point of view, it something that is looks like a apple for example, but from people point of view it may be a orange or anything else rather than apple. That is the difference between both of them. Therefore, to bridge the gap between scientist and farmer, there should be a proper communication, proper understanding and acceptance should be there regarding the management practices or regarding the IPM. So we learned regarding the introduction, what is IPM, its definition, why to study for it, why to go for it, what its need, history and overall concept. Thanks for listening. Stay home, stay safe.